Yo, what is good, everybody? It is your boy, Golden Falls, Golden What Ifs, whatever you want to call me. And I am back. This is a brand new What If. What if Deku had a rage quirk? And if you guys enjoy, please show some love. Leave a like, leave a sub, leave a comment down below, all that good stuff. And I don't want to waste much more of your time, and I want to get right into it. So make sure to check the links in the description for the Spotify, the Discord, the membership. The Spotify is fully caught up, so if you want to watch the videos or listen to the videos as well over there, they do come out a little bit later than the YouTube. YouTube will get it first, but they do come out a little bit later. Yeah, I need to get back consistent so that the Spotify also gets the videos pretty consistently as well. But yeah, with that said, I don't want to waste much more of your time, and I want to get into it, so let's get it. Izuku Midoriya is born, and his quirk is a little bit different than what anybody else would really be expecting. And the reason for this is he seemed like such a nice, normal, and happy kid, but at the age of about 5, he started having these anger issues, you could say. This odd anger that would spurt out of nowhere, and he would begin to feel more powerful while angry, understanding that he somehow is getting angry, but he's getting stronger as these things are happening. He has no idea how. He doesn't know what's going on. He doesn't know how it's happening, but they quickly would learn that it is his quirk. His quirk itself is something of a anger / rage-like quirk, and it seems like he's a physical and mental and so many different abilities are kind of elevated when he gets angry, when he starts raging. But if he gets too angry, sometimes he loses too much control. And that at the age of about 7 years old, something happens that makes him understandably annoyed, leading him to this anger that he hasn't felt, and it felt like it was spiraling out of control to the point where he was sitting there in his classroom getting upset, and he was losing his mind. He got so upset that he began breaking his desk. He broke it by just gripping it with his hand, and it just shattered in the palm of his hand. The desk itself broke in half, and the teacher would tell him to basically calm down, like, you know, like blah blah blah, like, oh, calm down, like it's not that serious. And this would just make Izuku even more just outraged by what he's saying, and Izuku would begin snapping his pencils. His chair would break underneath him. The room itself would get a lot hotter, and everybody would be confused. How is he affecting the heat in this room? But it's his anger. His anger continues to kind of flourish as he gets more and more upset. But after all this is said and done, after everything is happening, ironically enough, Bakugo himself kind of gets Izuku to take a chill pill, telling him that it's all good, that everything's good, and that you know, they're gonna later today they're gonna go have fun at the playground or something along those lines. And funny enough, Bakugo in a weird way is like a voice of reason, and it allows Izuku to actually get enough of his anger and rage out that he actually just calms down. Yes, when he gets above a certain threshold, it's extremely difficult for him to just settle down, calm down, especially on his own. But ironically enough, having Bakugo there allowed him to take a breath and actually not lose his head, at least entirely, and start ripping the place to absolute shreds. And of course, he would get in trouble for this. I mean, they would tell him like, no, like, we don't know if we can bring you back, you might be expelled, blah blah blah, and all this other stuff. And yes, Inko is not happy about this, but she even tells them, like, as well, that if they can't control somebody who has a quirk, somebody who has a special like quirk, then what are they even there for in the first place? And of course, Izuku would end up getting kind of in trouble for this, but not expelled, and they would have I would say an easier time learning how to control his rage. Soon, Inko would tell him that they're going to start learning various different ways to calm himself down, starting out with, like, meditation and stuff like that. And Izuku, well, he wouldn't rage out as much as he used to. Those tantrums, he would outgrow them. And around the age of around like 15, he would be completely done with kind of losing his mind to the degree that he was losing his mind before. I mean, at one point he was just, if something bad happened, he would get angrier and angrier and angrier, and it would spiral out of control a lot worse than whatever happened in the first place, right? These tantrums would turn into full-blown attacks, and Izuku, well, after a lot of meditation and a lot of working with himself and working with this anger and this rage, eventually he would kind of calm it down. He would take a step back, and he would take a breath, and he wouldn't be losing his mind to the degree that he was in the first place. And luckily enough, he does that. And at this point, he's a teenager, so he does have his moments of, you know, just anger and annoyance and all that stuff. So he does get it sometimes, but he learns how to control his anger, utilize it sparingly so that it can give him an upper hand in some sort of physical capability. But overall, he doesn't have to use it that much, luckily enough, because if he gets too angry, he might just lose control all over again. And who's to say that the quirk that he has now hasn't kind of enveloped and evolved even further, because, well, guess what? He is a lot older now, so there's a good chance that he could genuinely utilize his quirk a lot stronger, and it could be a lot more deadly if they're not careful. But luckily enough, he don't have to worry about it too much because he kind of has it under control, leading to him actually getting, his first chance at talking about where they're going to go in terms of, what are they going to do for heroes, and what are they going to do for this or that. And Izuku finally gets his chance to kind of listen to his teacher talk about how him and Bakugo are the only ones trying out for UA. Now, of course, both of them are pretty much looked at as people that could definitely get to UA. Two people that definitely have the chance to get to that point. But at the same time, people wonder, is the rage that Izuku exudes, is that gonna be a bad thing? Is that going to inherently make him a bad hero? What's gonna happen if he loses his shit on somebody and they can't stop it? Because in this universe, they're looking at Bakugo as the calm one, ironically enough. I mean, they legitimately look at Bakugo as, yes, he is angry and all this other stuff and arrogant and all that BS, but they don't see it as Izuku. Izuku inherently is just, he gets angry. And he goes kind of like insane in a way. At least that's what they looked at when he was younger. Obviously him now, it's not as bad, like nowhere near. But still, they look at him as the angry one, and they look at Bakugo as the somewhat kind of calm one, which is hilarious to think about, but that is the truth. Izuku would have to really kind of take the things that people say on the chin, on this idea that he won't make it, this idea that his anger will get the best of him, his rage will get the best of him. He has to take it on the chin, and understandably, it bothers him, especially when he starts walking home. He wonders to himself, can he really be a hero if he can't control his anger the way it needs to be controlled? And how is he going to do it? Because he needs his rage, he needs his anger to be stronger, to be more powerful. So what does he do? In which, as he's walking underneath the bridge, well, he would get his chance to show off what he can truly do when the Sludge villain would come out of nowhere and try to attack him. Honestly, just enveloping Izuku, and Izuku would struggle. He would be losing his head. He would be thinking, no, this is not good. This is not good. He can feel his life slipping away. He's just losing his oxygen slowly but surely. But this would anger him. He would bite down through the sludge that is entering his body, and this red aura would burst out around him, burning up the Sludge villain just a little bit, and he would spit out the sludge like just this insane like Viking type of person, like a unit, spitting it out, and his muscles would flare. He would grow in size just a little bit, and he would look back at the Sludge villain and he would be pissed. He would tell him that he hasn't felt this rage in a long time, and he's going to feel the wrath of Izuku Midoriya. And he begins wailing on the Sludge villain. Just the aftershocks of the punches that he's sending, I mean, you could feel it from from like 100 yards, 200 yards away, and he's beating on the Sludge villain, even though the Sludge villain is durable to an extent, but he is beating on him, making him scatter into little parts, and eventually All Might would arrive and throw a punch himself, landing on both the Sludge villain and Izuku, but Izuku is able to tank it to a degree as the Sludge villain is obliterated into small pieces, and Izuku, still being enraged, would look toward All Might and throw a punch, but luckily All Might is able to block it and gets the kid to calm down. He tells All Might he's sorry. He doesn't mean to. It's just his quirk. His power is all designated through rage and anger and all that stuff, and he doesn't mean to get overwhelmed or anything like that. And All Might looks at him and tells him that he understands. He gets it, right? Some people's quirks, they work differently than others. Some things have to be understood differently than others. And this right here, it's just a stepping stone. It's just a thing for him to step up and make sure that he could get a hold of it and understand it and prepare himself to really kind of get to that point and basically get to the point where he has full control over the anger that he has. And there is a world where he can. There is. At the end of the day, there's always an opportunity. There's always a chance. And he's going to be able to do it. And he tells him that he wishes him the best, and they can't really talk much more, but he does wish him the absolute best and wishes him to do, great things, right? That's what he wants for him to do. He wants him to do great things and hopes that he ends up trying out for UA High School, in which, of course, Izuku's like, yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to UA, and I'm going to be a hero just like you. In which All Might hears this, he smiles and jumps off with the little bits of the Sludge villain. And Izuku, all he's thinking about is that he got the approval of All Might himself. And All Might is thinking that this kid, his power is immense. And it was obvious that it was. But at the same time, just because his power is strong, does it mean he should give him or the opportunity to utilize One for All? He doesn't know. And he decides, instead of giving it to Mirio Togata, he's going to hold off on it. He's going to hold off on it and really look into these other kids that are at UA. And that's what he was going to do in the first place. But he was debating with the idea of, maybe I should just give it to Mirio and blah, blah, blah. But now he's coming to the decision that, this might just be it. This might be a chance to really, really kind of see who's truly capable. And that right there is an opportunity that Izuku Midoriya doesn't know he's going to be granted, but at the same time is going to be granted, and really is going to get a chance to kind of show what he could truly do and show what he's really capable of. And after some time of training, preparing, continued meditation that Izuku, by the way, continues doing, because, he has to stay locked in with what he can do, what he's been doing, and all of the above. So he makes sure that he stays with a clear head. He trains for 10 months, prepares himself, and does all of these things. And eventually, it's time. Eventually, it is time for him to basically go to UA, and time for him to try out for UA, and try out for the UA entrance exam, which is going to basically give him an opportunity to show his skills in front of UA teachers, but also in front of a lot of other people as well. And that right there is definitely an opportunity that Izuku is absolutely excited for, an opportunity that he's going to take with leaps and strides that he possibly can. And he would do that specifically. He would get out there, and yes, he would have his normal, basic stuff that he has to get into, which is, your typical run-of-the-mill, beat up on robot or do regular written portion of the test, and then he has to go beat up on robots. He has to get himself a little bit angry, and he decides to do something that his mother and him kind of came up with, making himself angry by inflicting a tiny bit of pain, kind of like if you stub your foot or stub your toe. You get a little freaking mad because you're like, damn, I really stubbed my toe like that, and that frustrates the hell out of you. And that's kind of what he does, and it gives him enough strength to kind of just punch through certain robots or kind of run away from certain situations if he needs to do so. But after kind of destroying a good amount of robots, a decent solid amount, he would see the 0 Point robot show up. And then he immediately through his head, he's thinking, okay, I think it's time to move, because probably not the best idea to try and kill that thing. Like, that's probably not a good idea, right? It's probably not a great idea to try and fight that thing when it's not worth any points, and, you know, it's probably just asking to get hurt. But what he doesn't know is that just a couple seconds later, he'll see a girl on the ground stuck in rubble, unable to move, and he'll have a choice to be made. And that choice is to save her or save yourself. And Izuku Midoriya wants to be like All Might, so he does exactly that. He saves the girl. He saves Ochako Uraraka as quick as possible. But as he clears the rubble, picks her up and tries to run her away, he sees that the 0 Point robot is getting too close and getting way too close. He tells her to slap him in the face, like now, in which she's like, what are you talking about? Why would I slap you in your face? In which he basically tells her again, like, you need to listen right now. Like, you need to do what I say. And then immediately she slaps the absolute hell out of him, and then basically like calls him an idiot for, you know, asking her to do that. In which Izuku thinks, you know what, that's perfect, because he immediately feels that slap and hears the idea of him being an idiot and gets extremely angry. And out of nowhere, he just rages out, immediately jumping towards this giant robot and kind of clawing at it, scratching and pushing it over. And he lands on the 0 Point robot. He eventually lands on it and just absolutely just slams it into the ground. It doesn't destroy it immediately or anything like that, but he does pushes it into the ground, stopping it from moving and saving the girl and saving anybody else that was in the way, or the eyesight, or the LOS of obviously the 0 Point robot. And of course they were able to he was able to save her and save everybody else to the degree that he wanted to. And this right here was when everybody watching realized that Izuku Midoriya, I mean, yes, he has an unorthodox way of fighting and an unorthodox kind of power, but this could be truly the next, or one of the next really great heroes, but they just don't know for sure. Nobody knows for a fact just yet. Nobody knows for a fact, if he really is, but soon I'm sure they'll figure it out, because Izuku Midoriya is granted access into UA High School. He is also put into Class 1A, but with all that said, he doesn't get the #1 spot. He's actually off by, a little bit, not too many points, but a little bit. And the reason for this is because he didn't use his rage to like a high degree early on to kill a bunch of robots. He used a lot of it on the 0 Point robot, saving the girl, but those rescue points didn't actually keep up with the #1 students, Katsuki Bakugo, which is pretty insane to think about, because Bakugo went absolutely insane, destroying so many of the robots. But Izuku's not thinking about it too much. He's not angry about it. He's actually not even upset about it. He's just happy he was entered into Class 1A, and he's given an opportunity to do what he wants to do. And for starters, when the first day would arrive, when that first day, his first opportunity, he would be basically told that he is given the chance to legitimately kind of show off his quirk, right? Show off his powers. And every single person is given that opportunity. The opportunity is with a quirk assessment test. And this quirk assessment test is pretty straightforward. The first thing is you throw a ball as far as possible, and Bakugo does that, and Aizawa basically watches him do it. He says, oh, like, that was good, blah blah blah, all that stuff. But really what irritates Aizawa is the fact that these people, or these students, start saying, oh, this is gonna be so much fun, it's this, it's that. And he's like, no, we're not here for fun. We're here for business. We're here for, whatever. Like, we're not here to have fun and enjoy ourselves. And he makes that very, very, very clear. He has no intention of making things fun. He has no intention of saying or making it, seem like, oh, yeah, it's going to be so much fun. It's going to be a good time. No. It's not a good time. it's a time to train. It's time to get stronger. It's time to do certain things, right? These are the things that are basically told, and these are the things that are made very, very clear to everybody. Made very clear to obviously Izuku and all his other classmates. Made very clear that they better keep their heads on straight, because if they don't, the last person, the last place will get expelled. And that right there shocks them to their core. They had no idea that something like this would happen, but luckily enough, Izuku doesn't have much to worry about, because he enrages himself just off of those words, and enrages himself a little bit via, like, slapping his wrist or stubbing his toe. And as he does this, he's able to throw the ball pretty damn far. Nothing insane, not like to a degree that Bakugo did it, but still pretty impressive. And in terms of every other aspect, he flourishes in it. Now, he's not the fastest, but he's one of the fastest by far. He's one of, if not the strongest, like via physical grip, because that right there makes him, every loss that he does, it makes him a little bit more angry. And he's able to kind of ensure that he ends up with like a top 5 ranking very easily too, like maybe even top 3, through kind of a minor version of his rage, because his rage that he's using isn't even to its max degree. Now, he's never really seen it at its max. I mean, maybe he'll never see it at its max, because anger to that degree is ridiculous. But at the same time, Izuku is showing his capabilities, and he shows to everybody there at the Quirk assessment that he's fully capable. And luckily enough, he's not the last place, and the person that is last place is actually Hagakure, or Invisible Girl. Invisible Girl ends up getting last place, and she ends up actually, getting quote-unquote expelled. But we all know she doesn't actually get expelled, right? She gets told that she gets expelled, then she gets reinstated, gets some extra help, blah, 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 all that stuff. And then she comes back barely the next day, or maybe a day or two after, and there she is. She's back with the class, and they're back training, and that would include training with All Might himself, aka training at kind of this heroes versus villains like training. This heroes versus villains like training is very simple. Bakugo and Tenya on the villain side, and Izuku and Ochako on the hero side, and they have to make a choice. How are they going to touch the bomb? And this fight between Izuku and Bakugo is one to be remembered, because Izuku and Bakugo throw down, and every explosion that hits the skin, hits the body of Izuku, enrages him more and more, leading to him getting to the point where not a single explosion is even affecting him. And this pisses Bakugo off to the point where he decides to let loose the most insane explosion that he can with his grenade gauntlet, and he unleashes it. The entire corridor filled with an explosion, and everybody's watching and thinking, why did he do that? Is he trying to kill him? And as the smoke would clear, Bakugo would be standing there, and Izuku stands in front of it, right in front of him, asking him if that was supposed to hurt. Because as the smoke would be unveiled, there's a large gash on Izuku, like a ton of burn marks, but these burn marks start regenerating. He starts regenerating these burn marks, and out of nowhere, everybody is kind of like, no, that's ridiculous. I mean, he's a monster. He's an absolute freak. How was he able to just tank that and regenerate it all back? Everyone's watching, including All Might, and immediately Izuku would slam Bakugo into the ground and begins beating on him. Begins beating him senseless, and everybody's watching thinking, when is he going to stop? When is he going to stop doing this? When is he going to give it up? Like, he can't kill him. He shouldn't. What's going to happen? In which All Might would begin to reach for the speakers, about to say something, but Izuku would then stop, put him on the ground, and then go rushing up the staircase, and in one foul swoop would go immediately charging at Tenya Ida, not even thinking about anything else. And Tenya would be terrified. Like, his eyes are glowing, his aura of anger is just all over his face and body. I mean, this is terrifying. I mean, he's just shocked and stunned and standing still. Izuku would charge him and he would whimper, kind of like hide away in a way, but Izuku would touch the bomb and it would be over. Tenya is in shock, thinking he doesn't know what happened, how he did that, and why he cowered away from that moment. But there's something about Izuku that made him fear him to a degree that he never expected and he never thought would be possible. But Izuku would be the winner, and they would kind of head off, and Izuku and Ochako would be the winner. They would head off. All Might would talk to them about, yada, 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 whatever you want to say. And eventually, the next day would ensue, and the next day would be at the USJ. The USJ, or the rescue facility, that would change things forever and put the League of Villains' sights on Izuku Midoriya, of all people. Because before you know it, when they're there, Izuku gets transported out of there to a kind of like a lake-like area. They would fight their way through and get across the lake and defeat the villains within it. Izuku would make a choice that would change his life forever. A choice that would make the League of Villains, Shigaraki, All For One, and many others realize what they're dealing with and realize who they are dealing with. Because when Aizawa is about to get absolutely destroyed by the Nomu, Izuku would jump out of nowhere, blocking the attack, and the red aura and anger in his eyes would flood his body, and they would see something, and they would realize something, that this kid is no normal guy. This kid is no normal hero, normal student. He is something else, something far greater. Izuku would begin fighting the Nomu, clashing with it, unleashing every little bit of power he has. His anger rises as he sees the student, his classmates, his teachers, and many others hurt and battered. He would then be getting angrier and angry as each singular punch he takes, the rage would build up so much so that he blacks out. Nothing is there. All he sees is red. Punch after punch, kick after kick, it's all red. All this dark colored red, as if blood is entering his eyes. His vision becomes blurry. His vision becomes nothing. But all he can feel is his fists, his kicks, his feet clattering off of something that feels almost immovable. But at the same time, it begins to move. Izuku's rage ensues so great that eventually the only thing that would wake him up and the only thing that would bring him back is the voice of a "I am here." The arrival of All Might, as Izuku would clash with the Nomu one more time, as his body would slowly be breaking and Izuku was pushed back to the wall. He looks up to see All Might come out of nowhere and land a blow so great, sending the Nomu directly out of the USJ. And everybody's in shock, but what really happened was Izuku made the fight a lot easier for All Might. The rage that was filling his body, the power that was ensuing, there was nothing that was stopping him. It was as if it was an unstoppable force going against an immovable object. And this right here solidified everybody's idea of what Izuku was, and solidified everyone's idea of what he can really do. Izuku Midoriya, he might just be an absolute monster. And all those ideas, those thoughts would go through their heads as the League of Villains would be entirely captured with the help of Aizawa and other heroes that would just arrive. And of course, Izuku would collapse on the ground, would be out cold, and he would be out cold for days on end. I mean, everybody would wonder, is he okay? Is he going to live? Is he dead? Like, is he all right? And of course, there would be conversations about many. I mean, he would be out of commission for days. We're talking maybe even close to a week. And a lot of people would be questioning if he's even okay. But eventually he would be. He wakes up in the hospital and he basically hears and he hears about all of his classmates and what happened and all this other stuff. And he even hears about the UA Sports Festival and kind of what he missed. But there's one person that is next to him that actually surprises him quite a bit. One person that makes him think, whoa, why are you here? What's going on? What did I miss? And that is All Might. Because All Might is sitting next to him, telling him that, well, he lost his opportunity to, go out there and show people what he's made of. But he wonders, his quirk, it's so volatile. It's so crazy. There's a chance where he can lose control. And Izuku cuts him off and says, no, like, he has control over it. He does. But he did what he had to do to make sure everyone was safe. And All Might nods his head and says, he understands. He gets it. But it scares him. It scares everybody. There's a world where he loses so much control that he hurts people that he cares about. And it hasn't happened yet, but it could. So what if they decide to grant him something, give him something? And Izuku's confused. What the heck are you even talking about? In which he tells Izuku that he has a quirk. It's known as One for All. And he believes that if he grants One for All to Izuku, that there's a very high likelihood, that it will work out a lot better for him than he thinks. And his rage will be a lot more under control, and it could be used as a modifier to make him stronger. But he doesn't have to rely on it. Not rely on this unrelenting rage that he can't control. And an unrelenting rage that if it gets too much, he might destroy everything. But Izuku tells him that if he does do this, he gives him this so-called power, this power that is of All Might himself. Who's to say that the rage doesn't take over? Who's to say that he doesn't die? He doesn't lose everything. He doesn't crumble into nothingness. Who's to say that he doesn't become the worst thing they can imagine? A villain with the power of the greatest hero alive. In which All Might nods his head and says, I know. There's a chance. There's a world, and there's definitely a thing that could happen. That is a thing that could genuinely happen. But he doesn't know. He doesn't know, and he tells Izuku that it's his choice. If he believes that he shouldn't take on this quirk, and he believes it's too much of a risk, then do so. But with that said, he still wants to offer him something. An offer to train with his old master known as Gran Torino. And quirk or no quirk, One for All or no One for All, he still wants to give him that opportunity. Maybe he can learn, train, and gain knowledge beyond what he believes. And, well, let's just say Izuku has a very, very important decision to make. And that decision could change his life, and maybe even everyone else's, forever. But that is for the next and final part of What If Deku Had a Rage Quirk. And if you guys enjoyed, show some love. Leave a like, leave a sub, leave a comment down below. All that good stuff. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope all y'all have an amazing day. Later.